project was implemented, the political situation at that point was very different. So then we had a difficulty at that point. Okay, what's your other question? So,
ano kaugnayan sa EFA,
MDG? If you reflect on the MDG, two of the MDG deals with the goal of the EFA. Ang EFA nagsimula, ang EFA yung pinakauna under the MDG. Under the EFA, it's all about universal primary participation, which is MDG goal number goal number 2. Universal primary. But under the EFA naman, you don't look at participation rate as just an indicator. You look at other indicators. So it's with the MDG. No? Tapos yung sa MDG, it's talking about primary. Under the EFA, we're not only talking about primary but also secondary. But in both instances, we are measuring the elementary and secondary, not only in relation to participation, but also certain efficiency indicators. Okay, so hindi mo pwedeng hindi magkaiba yan. The only difference between the MDG and the EFA, in the EFA kasi, it talks also about total community participation, is the fourth one. Pero under the MDG, parang wala yatang goal dun eh. Except the closest is, I think, yung poverty alleviation measures. I think that's the closest MDG goal that is in relation to the EFA. Okay? We made sure talaga that the EFA and MDG are really fit, no? Mahirap ka rin kasi mag-monitor kung iba-iba eh. That's why in every UN forum or UNESCO forum, we keep on saying that let's just build on from what we have right now. And then let's just use the available monitoring instrument. In the recent meeting of the Social Development Committee, we suggested that since there is an indication that the CBMS, community-based monitoring system, is quite successful in a number of LGUs, why don't we just use the CBMS as a monitoring tool for all departments, executive department, rather than each department having its respective monitoring tool. Diba? Difficult. Yan. Yan, Ulay. Can you ask that when we go home? She's my real boss.
So actually, this is really more of a comment. Starting with the discussions this morning up to this discussion on the effect of that. Looking at the K-12 discussions, it looks like it presents compelling reasons for sort of shared governance and close linkages between those providers or stakeholders of ECD, providers of basic education, and providers of TechBook. Why are we saying this? Because especially as DepEd now includes as part of its mandate the kindergarten, there is a need for closer linkage with ECCD, LGUs, and the SFRTV because of the need to track the population of children going through the life cycle stage. So, for instance, the age 3 to 4 now being supported or assisted by LGUs through the daycare will become the kinder. So there's a need for a shared community school monitoring on the tracking of these children and the continuity of the curriculum for the 3 to 4 and the kinder, and especially the early grades because these are young children. Second is the link between DepEd maybe and the TechBook system, because as you said, you're introducing senior high school, which requires a different kind of expertise in terms of teachers. So we see that perhaps the need for a link between the TVET, because we foresee DepEd will not have a complete set of or adequate set of teachers to handle the senior So maybe the need to really map out a yung partnership between high schools offering senior and the textbook schools in terms of curriculum, in terms of area, because these are expensive to manage, and it requires a certain expertise that DepEd may not be able to ensure the presence of such technically trained teachers. So it's just a comment of it, and it's interesting to see these interlinkages. Thank you.
Thank you, Lai, for that comment. Maybe the best way to answer, to deal with your comment is, hold on. In relation to the Philippine qualifications framework. If you look at this qualifications framework, again, we are going to flesh this out. No? It's not a complete picture because I think there's something wrong with the slide. It's supposed to look at the kinder going up to grade 1. But this represents the grade 10 qualifications framework up to the level 8. And level 8 is I think the highest level. Even if you look at the qualifications framework of Australia, OECD countries, and the States, the whole idea is to make sure that we are compatible with the international standards. Because right now, some of our engineers are not even recognized in other countries. There are some engineers of ours, especially graduates of UP, Ateneo, those are just the universities being recognized under the mutual recognition agreement. If we don't have the mutual recognition agreement, then they won't recognize our graduates. No? And that's the reason why it's very important to come up with our own qualifications framework that is based on internationally accepted qualification standards. No? I agree with you, Lai, that we need to look at the continuity of the entire education landscape, beginning at the early childhood care and development, going to the doctoral and to other pathways. And hence the reason why that the secretaries of the SWD and even related agencies like the UH, the ILG, EBM are meeting on a regular basis to ensure that most of these issues that you have raised are being addressed. On the matter of allowing teachers teaching in technical vocational schools to teach in senior high schools, that is also part of the transition plan, no? Wherein we will allow private schools offering technical vocational or even higher educations offering grade 11 and 12. As long as they have to go to the Department of Education, present their curriculum, so that we can look at their curriculum on the basis of the national curriculum. We cannot have a different sets of curriculum, just like what happened in ARM. Don't you know that the reason why we are implementing the madrasa education is because we don't want to have a madrasa implementing a Libyan curriculum or Egyptian curriculum, which happened in the past. That's why you have this, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And then, as I mentioned earlier, under the Enhanced Basic Education Act, which was also approved at the second reading at the lower house, we are now at the Senate for the interpellation of the K-12, but we are hoping that before the end of the year, it will be passed into law. In any case, one provision there really is to ensure that we hire the best and qualified teachers to teach those subjects. As I mentioned earlier, at the moment, because of this Magna Carta for Teachers law, we could not hire, let's say, who are doctors, engineers here, or maybe journalism, okay, graduate. We cannot hire Mon Tuason. Sa bagay, we cannot hire Mon kasi his consultancy fee is huge. Anyway,